joining online, just give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Right, so we're going to do the same as last week for those of you that are on. So start with questions for Franco. We're going to go in the room first, and then online, and then we'll flip it for Kyle. So if anybody in the room's got a question for Franco, yeah.
Franco, that's probably the biggest loss of the season for you, if I'm correct. What went wrong tonight?
No, I think everything went right for the Lions. They played some good rugby, and it was five turnover tries that came from our half of the field. So well done to them. Yes, we are have a couple of lessons to take home from tonight, but I don't think anything went wrong. I just think we were unfortunate. If you go and look at the tries that's been scored, it's good turnovers of how we have the ball in hand, intercept try. We didn't finish our opportunities. I think that was the message to the boys there in the change room. My mistake. I take full responsibility for that. We could have been more clinical with our side of things this week. So maybe a good lesson now before we go into the final part of things. And obviously, I think through the season, a lot of expectation grew around the team, and that's always a negative ingredient. So tonight, that expectation is obviously wiped off. So that is fantastic.
Could we have gone differently in terms of tactics in the second half, especially when you had the engagement on?
Yeah, well, look, if they outplayed us, they didn't outplay us. We made errors. We created the opportunities. We come off a line break, end up giving a score away at the back end of it. So again, if Carl Rose try that he scored when he was held up, was that done? The scoreline would have gone completely different in the first half. So from a tactical perspective, absolutely not. We were just inaccurate. We know the Lions play that way, so that is their way. So it's not like we a loose kick, a little bit too long, turnover at the break, two turnovers at the breakdown, intercept try. That feeds the Lions. So and that was where the mistake sits. So some of our things we could have done better. I agree. A little bit of reward for the amount of line breaks that we had would have been fantastic, but just funny enough couldn't convert all opportunities into points.
And coach, on our side, when the Lions went down to 13 million, do you feel as if you guys had missed the opportunity to really punish them at one time?
Yeah, I think in general we went a little bit off script. I think the guys, we haven't played teams with 14 or 13 players, and that's often, and you come in a situation where suddenly you get good reward for what you're doing, and you get a little bit overexcited. So again, I would rather flip it over and say that I think that the Lions did extremely well without that player. And so again, lesson for this team to take forward into the next part of the season.
Any more in the room? Yeah.
Coach, just assessing the tour of South Africa, how do you feel now going back with one match to go?
Obviously I'm disappointed, and I think the whole group, I'm talking on behalf of the group, I think we're a better team than the scorelines reflected. I think we were well prepared physically. It wasn't the heat and it wasn't the height above sea level that got up to us. We proved that last week against the Bulls by scoring a lot of points in the last part of the game. So in general, I think our prep was good. The way we came into this game was I'm very happy with that. So the preparation was good. It is, again, if you look at the type of tries that we've given away, is it the individual brilliance from the Sharks, or was it the system error from our side? And that's from the Lions, or is the system error from our side of the things that needs to be improved? So from that perspective, I think we're going to take some lessons, but again, tonight's a result, and especially the high number of points that we've given away is uncharacteristic and maybe an outlier for the season.
Okay, we'll go to guys on the call. Graham Beat, if you want to go first. We can get you to go one at a time, and then we'll come back round if anyone's still left.
Hi Franco. That seemed very out of character from Glasgow. Are you confident that's just a kind of one-off, and the squad's got plenty in them yet for the remainder of the season?
No, definitely. I think we last year in this round more or less went to Munster's home ground and put this amount of points on them, and And then the week after they took a lot of points against the Sharks, if I can remember right. But you know, they bounced back, and that showed the character of that team. You know, and in the final part of the games, they went to Leinster to beat them, and they came to us, which where we definitely don't lose that often, and they managed to, you know, to play important games from the lessons that they've learned from defeats like this. So we're going to definitely, as a group, have an opportunity now, because I think the whole season we've been doing good enough, and something like this just rips that band-aid off a little bit and will allow us to get back on it. Will give us an opportunity with a different mindset to get back on it.
Stuart?
The consequence.
Sorry, Graham. Carry on.
Franco, did the experience of reaching the quarterfinals last year and then losing persuade you that you have to go into the quarterfinals in a different frame of mind and a different approach this year?
No, we're gonna try and not talk about quarterfinals. We're gonna talk about, you know, what we need to be doing in those games. And again, I agree. There's a lot of those lessons learned that we will have to apply, and some of we've played two good teams here. We know that they're going to be both in the top 8. So there's going to be we're going to be challenged. So no, we've got enough lessons learned, and we are well positioned still to, you know, to bounce back from this.
Rob, if you're there.
Franco, that second half, when the guard was supposed to say, I mean, surely that wasn't good enough to lose 4 tries in 10 minutes against 14 men.
Sorry, I missed it. You said it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, surely in your own mind to lose 4 tries against 14 men in 10 minutes in the second half just isn't good enough for a side that's top of the table.
Robert, yeah, again, like I've explained up to now, there's probably reasons for that's happened. And I mean, up to now, we got ourselves to the top of the table for not playing games like this. So yeah, we're going to take that lesson learned. And yes, I mean, I think anybody can see that it wasn't good enough, and I'm not going to try and, you know, talk it right tonight at all. We take this on the chin and we go to the next challenge.
Brent, you there?
Hi Franco. Just to say, how much difference did it make losing Tom Jordan at that point in the game, and can you give us an update on how he is?
Yeah, he unfortunately failed his HI1, which means that he'll probably have a 12-day protocol to follow now. Yeah, so that was disappointing. I think, you know, I think he was, for that part of the game, he was still important for us, you know. So yeah, it's a pity that we've lost him so early.
There's any more questions for?
Be back in time then for the.
Yeah, no, the fact that we're not playing next week allows him to be recovered.
Alright, we're all up for Franco. We're going to move on to Kyle, so we'll start with the guys on the call. So again, Graham, if you want to kick us off there.
Hi Kyle. The likely consequence of this, I suppose, it will be that you would be away from home in the semis if you were to make it that far. Does that cause you any undue concern, or?
No, I don't think so. We would have loved to have played as many games, you know, at Scotstoun, and would have loved for our fans more than anything, you know, to be able to play those games in front of them. But I mean, again, like you've seen last year, you know, months they've gone away, they've won all 3 games away from home. So it can be done, and I think it just becomes a test of character for this group now. You know, and I think we can't really look too far ahead to that semi-final. Got a big game at home against Sebra, and then the quarterfinal. So lots to focus on before we get there.
Stuart?
Kyle, when you were chasing the game, I think you still had maybe 25 minutes to get back those 3 scores. Was it a case of just becoming too impatient and trying to force too much too quickly?
No, again, I think we were getting the ball in the right areas. You know, we were bending them on the edges. I think it was just, unfortunately, you know, it was basic areas that let us down. Like Franco said, you know, whether it was last pass or whether it was the ability to secure those breakdowns. You know, and then the Lions pounced off the back of that. So I thought we played the game the right way. We stuck. We were nice and decisive. I think we've just got to be better as a team and as a unit to make sure that when we get into those positions, we can capitalise.
Rob?
think you do have a game left, haven't you? I mean, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. You know, I think you'd have to guard against any complacency.
Pardon?
You know, you've still got a game left. I mean, how do you feel towards the final one?
Sorry, Rob, you broke up a little bit there. We're going to ask you again.
But basically, that you're saying that was a one-off. I mean, you know, how do you reset for the next one? I suppose is what I'm trying to say. How hard will that be?
No, it'll be pretty easy. You know, there's lots of lessons in there to look at. You know that we're going to have to take on the chin. I think it'll be a fairly honest review, and yeah, you know, so there'll be no hint of complacency. It's it's the last regular season game at home in front of our home fans. So there's plenty to draw on, and you know, massive, you know, plenty to play for. So.
Brent?
Tonight, or what have you told the team, Kyle, as captain?
Just that, you know, exactly like I've said, you know, that we had the opportunities tonight, and it wasn't anything complicated that let us down. It was the ability to get the basics right, you know, and keep our foot on the pedal. Yeah.
Cheers, thank you.
Brent?
I was just going to ask Kyle, what's those and what were you saying behind the lines to try and get the boys back on points?
It was pretty.
You know, how demoralising is this defeat and just the manner of it, really?
I think it's not demoralising. I think it's just disappointing. You know, there's a massive amount of work that's gone on behind the scenes to make sure that we've been prepared for these two games. You know, from our coaches and our staff, and again, I think we you know, we're looking in all the right areas and saying all the right things. And I think it was a tough one today because it felt like we were saying the right things again, but you know, not getting the correct action off the back of that. So that's something we're going to have to review. You know, as a player group, as a captain, and as a leadership group going forward. But yeah, I think just more disappointing than everything else, you know, for everybody that's putting work into this, and for everyone that supports us back home.
Anybody in the room for Kyle?
If I can just ask, in a competition of this length, is the ability to bounce back as important as momentum? Because obviously people talk a lot about momentum and what that does for you. Your ability to bounce back are keys and are crucial.
Yeah, massively, especially you know, this time of the season with one regular season game and then the playoffs, and like Franco's alluded to, you know, Munster, you know, they had these kind of watershed moments last season, and the way you bounce back and the way you learn those lessons and put those lessons into action is everything in this competition.
All right, thank you everybody. Thank you.